And welcome back, everybody, to another dose of Chaos Incarnate, this time with far more energy at a much better time of day, and this is going to be part 2 of my Death Battle matchup review. This one's going to be a bit of a long one, so I hope you all enjoy. Now, you are all welcome to suggest your matchups all you like. I'm going to review the matchup, my overall thoughts on it, my possible prediction, and if I want it to be on Death Battle / how likely it is. I hope you all enjoy. The Medic versus Richtofen, Team Fortress 2 versus Call of Duty Zombies. This is one of the penultimate shooter matchups of Death Battle, and they've even done this one on the Death Battle cast. I would love to see this matchup happen someday. It's two crazy German doctors going at each other's throats, and it gets fucking weird, as these series tend to do. With all the weird, magical, and borderline cosmic shit they can pull off, you would be surprised at just how weird this fight's gonna get. Both have multiple forms of immortality, stat buffs, and an assortment of different guns, including things like the Uber Charge, the Wonder Weapons, the Quick Fix, the Vaccinator, etc. I'm sorry if I'm getting a little crazy here. But yeah, no, this matchup's got a lot of merit going for it. The only thing I think that it doesn't have is there isn't too much debatability. Medic's definitely got a fair bit on his side, including the ability to bring himself back, I believe, 3 times at this point. He's got better defense, and I believe in terms of reaction speed, they're about the same. Along with, if you include the spells from the Versus Marasmus mode, I think he actually has at least somewhat of a shot. But I believe Richtofen, with the Gobblegums, the sheer bullshit that is the Wonder Weapons, and better time travel, I would say Richtofen takes this one. And as for how likely I think it is, honestly, out of all the TF2 and Call of Duty matchups possible, this is definitely one that's got a fair shot. Other than Soldier versus Sarge, and there's one other Call of Duty matchup I'm trying to think of, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. I give this a firm 8 out of 10, maybe a 9. It doesn't need to happen right now, but a TF2 video is always welcome on the Death Battle channel. So, yeah, this one's a lot of fun. Yeah, actually, I'm going to bump that up to a 9 out of 10. Yeah, firmly approved. Next up, we have Alucard versus Makima, and this one is an interesting matchup. Like, it's actually close, incredibly close. 2 Crimson anime, well, I'd say demons, in a way. Makima being the Control Devil, and Alucard being the Vampire King, with their power sets being primarily around the concepts of regeneration and immortality, with both basically being able to sacrifice a life and bring themselves back automatically, with millions of extra lives on hand and a fuck ton of summons. This is an interesting matchup, no doubt. I've said that a lot. Let's see. Music potential is a pretty firm, I'd give that a firm 9 out of 10. Debatability, this is borderline 50-50, so yeah, there's a lot of fun. The banter potential is also pretty cool too, because they both got that quiet, conniving side to them. So yeah, that's a lot of fun as well. Like, you can just have the two bantering back and forth on who can control the other and shit like that, comparing what they've done and stuff like that. Now, I will say I'm not a big fan of Chainsaw Man, but Gojo versus Makima was pretty good. And Alucard versus Dio was an amazing episode, so if either one of them were to come back, I'd say this would probably be the best way to do it. As for how likely this is, I wouldn't say it's too likely. I think if anyone from Chainsaw Man's going to come onto the show next, it'd probably be Denji. And I don't think Alucard's ever coming back, honestly, although he does have a few ways to do so. So, I'd give this one a I give this one an 8 out of 10. It's not quite as fun as Medic vs. Rick Telfin, but it's definitely got, that, how would I call it? It's got that edge factor, where it's, it's just cool as a concept. Like, that's the best way I can put it. So, yeah, give that a solid 8 out of 10. Sounds about right to me. Next up, we've got Taskmaster vs. Deathstroke, DC Comics vs. Marvel Comics. And I know at least one of my friends really wants this fight to show up. And this one is the most grounded fight we're probably going to cover today entirely. So, I would give this one, off the bat, I'm giving this one a firm 9 out of 10. This is one of the few major Marvel vs. DC episodes we still need to get, aside from, like, Mysterio vs. Scarecrow. And this one is pure choreography. Like, the raw hand-to-hand skill between these two is insane. Like, Taskmaster has basically the ability to copy any martial art he sees with few limitations, and Deathstroke has gone hand-to-hand with Batman, and that does not need to be explained. So, oh right, this one's also a pretty cool weapon clash as well. I would say, I believe Taskmaster wins this one, though I could be wrong. This is, as far as I'm aware, very close. I just don't know if Deathstroke can take down him with all the pure skill sets he's acquired, like the Punisher skill set and shit like that. So, I would say that with the raw skill of these combatants, it really just comes down to if Deathstroke can kill Taskmaster before Taskmaster figures a way around his skill set. And I'd give his odds, I'd say Taskmaster could pull it off, though it'd be incredibly difficult. So, yeah, I'm gonna give this one a solid, sticking with it, 9 out of 10. And if this does happen, I'm kind of hoping this is the live-action episode we're going to be getting later this year or later next year, because we already had Winter Hood versus Red Soldier as live-action, and that was a lot of fun, so, yeah, firm 9 out of 10 for me. Joseph Joestar versus Ida Clawthor, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure versus the Owl House. This is an episode that I don't have too much bearing on, but from what I know, this is two characters who are out of their prime, but still know how to kick ass. I love JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, so it's the Owl House side that I'm not too familiar with. I will say that, as far as I'm aware, this matchup is kind of a blend of power sets, because you've got Joseph with Hermit Purple and Hamon, and Ida, being a witch, provides all sorts of magic chicanery, and as far as I'm aware, she's a shapeshifter. And from the few motifs I've heard from the Owl House, this could probably be an absolute musical masterpiece. So, I would give this like a 7.5, maybe 8 out of 10. I'm not really sure if I'd want this to be how Joseph comes to Death Battle. Like, if he does, I'd prefer, say, Joseph Joestar Young versus Edward Elric from Fullmetal Alchemist. But I could see this as a pretty good substitute. It would also bring another Hamon user onto Death Battle, so I can't complain about that. But I think before that, we're probably going to get Luz versus Anne soon enough. So, yeah. Gonna give this like a low 8 out of 10. It's pretty good. Oh boy, it's the 2000s kids matchup on crack. Dan Cuso from Bakugan Battle Brawlers versus Jinga Hagane from the Beyblade Battle Series. This has been my absolute godsend of a matchup ever since its conception, and I am really, really waiting for the day that this matchup happens. It brings two great 2000s franchises onto Death Battle, two major fan bases, and the track would be amazing. It's also a 51-49, sadly in Dan Cuso's favor, but God, does Jinga give him one hell of a fight. He counters just about everything, with two exceptions. Three, actually. Jinga can counter just about everything, except for Dan's reactive evolution, his probability manipulation, And I believe his status effect induction. Yeah, that's it. Other than that, Jinga matches him bar for bar in just about everything and actually has him beat on raw experience and stamina. So, yeah. Jinga does not go down easy here, but the music as well. These are two 2000s franchises, well, anime series, so I don't think I need to tell you that the music is going to absolutely fucking stab you with how good it is. And the animation would be amazing, especially just to see these power sets collide, because it's kind of a Giorno versus Joker case where one has only one monster to summon while the other has a fucking gazillion of them. So I could see this one being an incredibly intriguing clash of abilities, especially in terms of strategy. And Jinga, like, they could almost mistake each other's respective toys for weapons as each other's power systems, like questioning what kind of Bakugan is that, or what kind of Bei is that, you know, shit like that. So yeah, this is getting a firm 10 out of 10. I'm praying it happens at some point, especially with Ash versus Yugi getting onto the show, and the fact that we've had 5 Beyblade references on Death Battle. For the love of God, guys, just bring it on already. Though I suppose the one downside would be the toxic Metal Fight fans getting pissed off that it wasn't Ryuga, or that Jinga loses. But that's neither here nor there. If Death Battle cared that much about Backlash, we wouldn't have a plethora of different other episodes. So, yeah, firm 10 out of 10 for me. Titus versus the Master Chief. Warhammer 40k versus Halo. This one, the Death Battle cast is already discussed, and Master Chief has had 2 episodes now, both against the Doomslayer, with 1 win and 1 loss apiece, and this one is basically the same story, where it's kind of that whole super soldier legend archetype from 2 of the biggest sci-fi franchises out there. Now, I would give this one a 7 out of 10. I don't think Master Chief needs to come back. And if Warhammer does get onto the show, I would prefer a different fight. I actually have a few in mind, including the Daleks versus the Imperium of Man, but I'll get to that eventually. So, I would say this one is mostly good for the choreography and bringing a new franchise onto the show. The music could probably be something incredible, albeit it'd probably be more Warhammer focused. So yeah, I'm giving this a 7 out of 10. As far as I know, it's not all that fair, especially with just how fucking ludicrous Warhammer gets sometimes. Ash Ketchum versus Yugi Moto, the Pokemon Master and the King of Games. This one we are getting at some point either this year or next year. I'm really hoping it's episode 201 after Rui versus Maka, sorry. And this one is probably going to be the next Bowser versus Eggman. If it does happen at some point soon, it's likely going to break the internet. Especially with just... This fight is absurd, with just so many summons on both sides. And with their teams being so expansive, you have to cover everything. Not to mention the way their rule sets can interact. Like, dual monsters and Pokemon are supposed to interact, but there's just so many ways you can do it. For example, Ash starting with a 6v6 rule set, whilst Yugi starts with the normal dual monsters rule set. So that would give Yugi the advantage at first, because Yugi can have more monsters on the field. But at the same time, I believe Ash's Pokemon team across his history is actually more diverse. So, whilst Yugi has to balance things like summons, spells, and trap cards, so it's gonna be quantity versus quality. And I think the thing that really decides this matchup is No Limits Fallacies. Like, as far as I'm aware, Yugi is smarter by a long shot, but Ash is primarily skilled higher, so it comes down to, can the no limits fallacies be bypassed? And while there is one instance of that, I'm not sure if Ash could match it, because, well, let me think on this. Ash can bring himself back, but Yugi also has the Millennium Puzzle to, basically bend fate and select the cards he needs at any given moment. And Ash is no stranger to fighting gods, so the god cards wouldn't be anything he hasn't fought before. But at the same time, with how they work, I think the no limits fallacy thing might kick in. Now, I don't think Exodia would be the finishing blow here. I think it would have to be down to something like Slifer. So, and for Ash, he has a few solid ways to counter some of Yugi's abilities, like Lucario's Aura could see through the magic hats. It also read Yugi's entire deck before the fight starts. And Pikachu's overall experience in just boxing gods. I would give this one, I'd give this a firm 10. It's essentially the more complicated version of Dan versus Jingo. And knowing that this one's happening eventually, I'm hoping it's episode 201, but I won't be surprised if it takes longer to complete than that because of just how fucking complicated this fight is. Also, something else you would have to think about, things like life points and type advantage and stuff like that, or how the Z moves interact with a move like Mirror Force or Negate Attack. And then, of course, there's the infamous debate of Kuribo versus Oshawott, but I'm sure that'll come up when the episode shows up. Oh boy, this was a lot of fun. Yeah, I think I have a sore throat. Yeah, I'm giving this one a firm 10 out of 10. It's really damn good. Well, I hope you all enjoyed this relatively short video. It's been an absolute blast, and I'm probably going to continue on this hype train for a very long time, but I'll see you all next time. I hope you all enjoyed. Have a wonderful day.